to to most of you. Thank you. Excuse me. I sent a draft out of the proposed agenda for the convention, and they're looking over that now. The executive board is looking through it and whatnot. And I've asked for a comparison from the last from the last convention to get a comparison and whatnot. So also I'm waiting for that. I had talked to the chairman of the NCC and he gave me the okay, but he was corrected by the national office because it has to be voted on and sanctioned and put in cement before we can go forth and start, getting money and whatnot. Um, it I expect about 80 people, same population that was at the other convention in Milwaukee. So it's just a process of signing things off and getting it squared away. But the people are very helpful and really, supportive at the hotel. And I think because we'll be situated in a nucleus where we have various activities going around us, it'll make it advantageous. It'll be a good convention. So if you get a chance, look over, what I've sent out to you guys. If you got any comments, feedback, or anything, I appreciate it. I have Omani and I have Aura. Aura has, but she's bringing 3 of her people on board to help with the convention. So if you all have any feedback, ideas, or anything pertaining to that, I would appreciate it because we're trying to, get little things here and there. One point that was really good that uh, man, she from Baltimore pointed out, she said there was no indication about handicap rooms, and I thought that was good because I need every little bit of feedback I can get. I appreciate that. So if you have anything, like I said, again, um, you know, hit me on either email or give me a call while we're putting this thing together. Appreciate that. As far as yesterday, we had a state commanders meeting. Greg out in Frederick, Maryland, he hosted it. His facility is like Star Wars. It is unbelievable. When I walked in there, I mean, it's like another world. The veterans, they don't feel intimidated. They won't feel anything but welcome. It's one of the best facilities I've ever seen pertaining to assisting veterans. They got everything. And what they did, they partnered shit. They made a partnership with Goodwill. Goodwill owns the building, but the left side, the west side of the building is Goodwill. The right side of the building, the east side of the building is NABVETS. And because it's so elaborate and whatnot, I mean, they have a computer lab consisting of 10 computers where the veterans can come in and do their thing. And then they have an office for the chaplain. They had 3 offices for claims clinic, and they had 2 big conference rooms. And on the walls, they had not only pictures, they had paintings that were done by veterans on cardboard. And I mean, some of these paintings are award-winning portraits of the veterans. All the veterans who have been painted on these cardboards, you can really see the whole facial structure, everything on there. But all these veterans are ones who committed suicide. And this is the honor they're giving them. But it took me about an hour and a half to get out there. But once you get there, you open up that door. When you pull up, I mean, the sign out front says Veterans Center, Vet Center. And when you walk in there, it's another world. So if you have some time, going out there and just seeing on a Saturday or Sunday, you don't. Greg and them don't have to be there. I mean, NABVETS owns that other side. When I'm saying own, it is open to us totally. It is our possession. We can do anything we want to do with it if we want to have different functions. So I suggested to Greg yesterday that it would be good to possibly go ahead and sponsor, um, a claims clinic because he was kind of concerned about he and the owner of the place were concerned that they needed to start seeing more veterans coming in. So I thought it would be good to have a claims clinic. In fact, I like to have one once a quarter out there to build up his population. It would build up the membership and his population. Because when veterans step up in there, they can, it's an eye opener. And I think it would be really good to entertain that. I talked to Greg and his wife last night on the phone. He said it was interesting because the owner saw us meeting in the lounge yesterday. And then a couple of the veterans came in and asked could they do their claims. And so I didn't hear that conversation, but Greg and them said, Mike, well, that's somebody asked about that question. So hopefully we can kind of get things together with that, and I'll keep you guys posted. Right now, administratively, Commander Brown, some of you have seen him, some of you knew he was here in town, but he's been going back and forth between here and Atlanta, Georgia, like you and I go to Wawa. So he's working on a lot of administrative work or whatever, but some of the people in the field are asking for visual contact, like one-on-one with the commander, national commander, as well as as him. So I'm working out arrangements now where they're going to start doing podcasts to be seen and heard at least once a month to get through the whole, 'cause, on the national level, not only just with us, but everybody. So they've made some administrative changes from secretary of the executive board to the parliamentarian. Gwen has given several people on that board walking papers, and the new administration is coming on board. I think it looks a lot more comfortable now. We can get things done because you don't have people in the background rattling rallies like a baby's rattler, always making noise and not doing nothing. So it was a solid foundation that was planted yesterday. Gloria and Anna Towns, they led the workshop pertaining to our administrative part. And Gloria, she just laid everything on the line, what we need to do when we start dealing with claims, what we need to do as far as our grants. And they have subscribed a company who can begin to work with us on a free basis to help develop our bylaws, our finances. This company goes throughout the whole nation supporting various nonprofit organizations, and they're willing. We just have to fill out the application and submit it to them. They will give us 6 months of free entertainment. These are college graduates who have to do work hours or whatnot. And if they specialize in nonprofits, they will be willing to come on board to help us out. So once I complete that, I will send it to you guys to review, so you know exactly what direction they're coming from. But we all decided that we're going to be standard as far as using our monthly reports, filling out our monthly reports, activity and whatnot. Specifically, the data, we're going to have to break it down a little bit more when we're doing claims as well. That way, when Anna and Gloria start writing for these grants, they'll have the specific information from all 7 chapters that we can consolidate together and put as one, to go ahead and apply for these grants. It was also voted on that each chapter will seek their own EIN number, because right now there's so much confusion going on up in Milwaukee with the Internal Revenue Service that they're telling all of us to have our own EIN number. That way, when we apply for a grant, nobody can touch our money but ourselves. Throughout the various various chapters, there's been a change in command as well as on a national level. So we're going to have a new roster going around, new structure going out, so you can see who's in charge and what's going on. Some of the chapters, or one of the chapters right now, is in incubator stage, just trying to get themselves together because they were affiliated with the population that they thought would come back after the COVID and whatnot. So they're going through some issues right now, trying to consolidate, bring in their population. Mike Reddick has already purchased a machine to create and design our membership cards to be done in plastic. That way we'll have the same, everybody will be using the same thing. So we'll be going through each one of the lists of everybody's mailing address so I can mail the new membership card. We're just trying to design it to the liking of everyone, and we're going to put it up on the screen sometime this week so you can see exactly what's going to be on the membership card. And I'm going to ask for your opinion. We're going to open up the door for about 3 or 4 days to give some feedback on what should be there and not there on the card. It'll be a distinguish between life membership versus the 2-year membership and the other, et cetera, et cetera. So that's what coming down the pike as well. Other than that, that's just about it as far as yeah, that's just about it on my notes and whatnot. Today I have 3 meetings to attend. When I finish this, I have to go with Aura. I'm gonna do that one on the road. Then Man and Van are having this women's program. Tiffany, I don't know if you know about that one. Women's program. over in College Park. I'll be going to that. In addition, NAACP is having this Unity um, workshop from 12 to 2. So I'll be bouncing about that, but just getting the recognition of NABVETS. But basically, that's what's going on, gang. I'll go ahead and yield the floor and open it up for Charles.
Okay, having down to speak about claims, client, VSO, and training. Claims has sort of increased since my name and Mike name has actually go out there to the VA website. So they've been calling us, well, emailing us and asking can we do their claims since they realize now the VA website that we're in Charles County. And so our claims has increased. And with that, by us being able to use VetPro, we're able to actually get claims done within a half an hour just so we can register with VA. The 2122s has been very important for us because once we do the 2122s, which is a power of attorney, we can send that into VA and that allow us to get into the veterans records. Then we can see what all the veteran has done before we even start putting the claim. Because a lot of time we ask the veterans, have you put in an attentive file? Do you have this? And they'll say yes or no, and it's normally not true once we get into the records. So once we get the 2122 and the VBMS, Mike and I can go in there and see exactly the status. And then we'll decide what we need to do the next step. We tend to file a claim 526 with a fully developed form or supplemental forms, and then we'll know where to go. Jerry, Mike, and myself on the 24th of May, we had a Veterans Resource Day and it was sponsored by the Maryland Resource, Labor Resource in Waldorf, Maryland. It was held at the American Legion Post 82 on Crane Highway. And we got a message from George Hawley, who actually sponsored it for the Maryland Research Labor Relations, that 34 vendors showed up and we had about 18 veterans who were actually registered or enrolled in VA. And he said that's the most that they've ever had. When the veterans left, they were saying that's the most they've ever found out about VA in their lifetime. So he wrote us a nice little two sentence saying how valuable it was. And the clients, we took some pictures, some photos showing what Commander Worthy was saying, that although we cater to Black minorities, the majority of my claims that I've worked at Jerry's place in Mechanicsville and we do American Legion are not people of color. And so by having some photos showing that we're actually doing people of color doing claims, that actually go along with what the Commander Worthy was saying. VSO training, Mike and I just completed that last Friday. That was Mike Riddick. I think this was the 4th iteration of his training block. Prior to that, we really had no training. We was doing, on-the-job training and a lot of things we didn't understand and we didn't know. And so now we have had some more formal training. And he was saying in the future that those who have completed the training will now be able to train other VSO members who become accredited in each chapter, which Mike and I will do. And once or twice, we will actually attend one of his classes and be one of the ad hoc trainers in one of his classes. That's about it. I represented the Military Alliance Council of Indian Head. Mike represented NABVET. Jerry represented Southern Maryland Center for Independent Living. So we had dual hats doing there. And so when we met with the MAC Board of Directors Wednesday, I mentioned to them that we wanted to put on a Veterans Claim Thing for Veterans Day. And so they thought that was a great idea. So now all we're trying to do now is to find where so we can do this thing. And so I'll be coming back to a state commander to find out all of those support that we can get from VSOs to help us do this on Veterans Day. She talked about maybe inviting Tony, I think Anthony Woods, the second.
Yes.
VA from Maryland, and invite some other elected officials, just as since it's Labor Day, and have a few things there. Naturally, we'll do the Mission Barbecue and Chick-fil-A and things like that. I know once I did the missing soldier, things like that. You know, the table with the missing soldier, the boots and things like that. So we just try to make a day of Veterans Day. And so right now it's in the planning stage. So as I get close to that, I'll keep the commander, the state commander, informed of what. And the cutoff date for the next quarterly newsletter will be on next Friday. So if you have anything, I sent it out to everyone in the 96th chapter. So if you're doing something in other organizations and you're a chapter 96 member that do qualify you to send information to me, and I can get it into our newsletter. And I think I sent out what requirements are, send photos, put it on there left to right, put a few statements of what you're trying to tell us. You know, don't be worried, but be informative. Things like that. That's all I have, Mike.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Charles. Also to piggyback on what he was saying pertaining to the claims, after we completed our class, those who attended, as far as the VSOs, kind of pulled ourselves together. We're going to have what we call a think tank that we plan to meet on a 2-week basis or whatnot to discuss the various types of claims and whatnot. And I'm kind of excited about that because each of us are bringing something to the table about dealing with claims. And I think we'll be a powerhouse doing that. We're going to call ourselves the think tank. And that's what we'll be doing, thinking about the claims, because there's just so much, you know, we didn't touch with, we were only at the front door with a lot of issues and how to work with our claims, far more than I've ever seen. So there's 8 of us, and I'm excited. I think we're going to make a hell of a team dealing with claims. Thank you.
I can add just one thing. When we did the claims clinic on the 24th, I mean, it was so well received that we were the only 2 left in the whole place. It was closing up and it was gone. The veterans were still left. Mike and I was handling them. I mean, it really pumped my heart up in my mind to think how we had been serving veterans, so just not just black, but all colors, and how they gave the feedback to George that they had never been so informed about what VA does and how to help them.
Yeah. And that's what I thought about when I was riding up to Frederick, Maryland the other day. The thousands and thousands of veterans who haven't been touched yet. DAV and VFW are not there. They're not in that area. And that's why I really want to kind of emphasize NABVETS. We have a building, we have a place, and we just need to start doing on a quarterly basis or something of that nature, entertaining that. There are a lot of veterans, because I'm talking about Prince, I'm talking about Frederick, Maryland, Hagerstown. Man, we got veterans all up in there. So just food for thought, food for thought. I ain't gonna get on no bandwagon. All right, Charles, thank you. Okay.
Hey, Mike and Charles, I did want to mention, you know that every Wednesday at the VFW Post 9619, you know, we have Wacky Wednesday, but part of Wacky Wednesday is the fact that Trey and Joe Thornton are actually running basically a veterans claims clinic in the, you know, Charles, where we've had the clinic before.
Allentown Road.
Yeah. And the thing is that they're helping people with claims and whatnot like that at the VA, doing Wacky Wednesday for a portion of Wacky Wednesday. I was just wondering that, you know, and they need, I know they need help because they're running people in and out of there. A lot of people go during that Wednesday. I would think that would be something that we might want to look at joining with them, because they're doing claims for veterans. I don't think necessarily, you know, we're talking about, since I'm part of the VFW, I don't think necessarily we are looking to get all the credit. You know, what we're trying to do is get veteran service. So I didn't know if you guys were actually interested in maybe pursuing joining that effort on Wednesdays, because they're running a lot of veterans through there.
Well,
and they actually they're turning some people down because they don't have enough claims reps to process. So they're like scheduling people down the road and whatnot, like the next week or whatnot.
And that's how Mike has sort of like minimized that effort, because we had VetPro and we're done within 45 minutes. The veterans is in VA. And so they can leave and we'll give them a screening form. We can call them to make a one-on-one at any time after we find out what their status is.
Right.
So the two of us did 17 folks. And when I went to that claims clinic to run on 1 Avenue, veterans were sitting there for 2 or 3 hours or 4 hours and they were sort of discouraged.
Right, right.
But in all honesty, Jerome, my end game is to get something in Charles County.
Right.
Even if we have to invite you guys down here to us,
Right.
we just need a four wall so we can do that, even if it's every quarter or every week, so that we can at least take care of our veterans in Charles County, because every other county gets funded by their county. They have some,
Right.
We have nothing.
Mhm.
I'm just trying to put our face on the map, because our commissioners, they seem like they're MIAs.
Gentlemen, I wanted to share something to that fact, but I'm gonna wait my turn. I'm not sure where I am on the agenda. So I know we went to Charles. So I don't know if we're going to Jerome next, but I'd like to share something with what you all were just speaking about.
Go ahead, Tiffany. Go ahead. There's
Okay,
only
well,
4 of us.
I was very surprised. Thank you, Jerome. I was very surprised to know that you all weren't partnering with them today, because the VFW Morningside is having a resource fair today that starts at, I think, 10 o'clock. They're going from 10 to 5. And then I'm not going to the Women's Event in College Park because I'm holding a meet and greet at that same post today from 3 to 5. And I know I've been sending this information out far and wide, but at any rate, last year, under the leadership of Commander Wade for VFW, I was authorized to hold a Women Veterans Committee under the VFW. So I got sanctioned and support by the mayor in Ocean City, Delegate Patterson, and Senator Van Hollen. They all were like, okay, congratulations, you know what I mean? So this year, we're going to each county holding a meet and greet for women veterans. And the objective is to partnering with Pennsylvania Women Veterans Committee and some of the other states that have veterans committees. They start doing it outside of their conventions. So my ultimate goal is, as I go through each county, to which Southern Maryland, by the suggestion of Delegate Patterson, will be on July 29th at the college. She wanted me to focus on having some things at the college. So we're scheduled to meet there July 29th. But at any rate, to keep holding these, to start bringing the women out and eventually start having things like the claims, because my topics, when I was at the convention this year, I held a focus group. So the women veterans that came out, we already have a couple of matters, and claims is one, but a lot of them don't know. They're clueless. Where do I go? How do I do this? Education, benefits, health, everything. So I'm just gathering information for my statistics, as I go to each one of these counties, and then we want to build off of that and come back. Now, of course, that means with the Women Veterans Committee, Dr. Fisher's organization, it's separate, but that is in line with what she's doing. So when we go to Baltimore, I will be joining forces with her. But today, I am solo at the post just to see how many women come out so we can start gathering information like we did with the Maryland VA for women's inclusions, to just see what some of the topics are that they really need help with. So I would like to solicit you all's support, because it seems like either you're not getting my emails or the information is just not trickling down. I don't know, but that's under the auspice of the VFW for the Women Veterans Committee. Thank you all.
So Tim,
Question.
next question now.
Yeah.
When you have these sponsors for the women's thing, is it just women? Because I sort of
No, men are invited. Again, this was a male commander that authorized me to do this. We cannot leave our male comrades out, but what we cannot do is, you know how blessed we are to have Secretary Owens, but we can't say that a veteran is a veteran, because when we say that, we do not address some of the specific matters. I don't like to use the word issues, some of the specific matters pertaining to women veterans. So when we hold these focus groups, I had at the convention, I had 3 men, well, the 2 husbands and another gentleman, and then members of the auxiliary too, to join us for our focus group. And when they left, they were kind of like, asking to speak to me later, because they're like, wow, I didn't know you all were still going through some of these things. And it's not so much that VA is stepping up with their women veterans organization at VA. They are stepping up, but now it's getting the word out to people and conquering that fear or that bias against using VA, because they've been hurt so much, they don't want to go back. So then when they don't want to go back, it's like, okay, how do I get you what you need or make you knowledgeable? I mean, I feel like the same thing I do on my podcast, making you knowledgeable that this information or these things are out there for you, So, yeah, so I'm looking for dates. Dr. Fisher is trying to set dates for me, like I said, Baltimore and Anne Arundel County, but so far, Prince George's County and Southern Maryland, those are the dates, today and July 29th. So, my bandwidth, so I'm trying to just hold out for like maybe 1 or 2 every month. But yeah, that's where we're going.
So what time is it on the 28th?
The 29th, 3 to 5.
Or the 29th?
Saturday, July. You're talking July. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You said from what, 3 to, you said what time?
3 to 5.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just confused because sometimes, I don't mean to cut you off, but sometimes I see these women, it's like today, we got this women thing that's going on at Van and Man are doing at 10 o'clock. And it's from 10 to 2. Then the NAACP is from 10 to 2. I understand the NAACP, but I thought you were with Man and Van today.
I just had a conversation with you earlier about that. I don't know what it is, but at any rate, mine is being sanctioned under the VFW. So they, they were like, yeah, go for it. Because we need, with the VFW, they're truth be told, they're dying off. So I'm like, hey, we need to get these women that are eligible, even if they're dual, that we need to start getting these women engaged, So they're like, go for it.
Okay. Well, I'm kind of caught between a rock and a hard place, not only with you, Tiff, but Jerome, you made an interesting statement. I have been debating to talk with VFW pertaining to claims. Charles, I understand what you're saying, that we need to kind of hang out in Charles County to get that going. But I'm willing, and I know Charles gonna look at me crazy, myself, to step across the line and assist the VFW on doing Wacky Wednesday. But and I don't mean to be funny or anything, but I know Trey
Yeah.
he may have some issues pertaining to claims, how to do claims.
Well, why don't you all have a meeting? Because Train has changed a lot within the past 2 years. He has a new boss and he's become full-time. Okay, so like Jerome said, Joe is coming from the state level, from VA doing claims. He's now the boss for VFW, the head resource person for VFW, for VSO. And so they've done a lot of training, and Train has had to change his work ethics, should I say. And I'm not sure, Wacky Wednesday, I think you all would need to meet before Wacky Wednesday, because Wacky Wednesday is busy and people are getting their heads banged tight, whatever you want to call it, you know what I mean? So you all may want to meet before then. And if Jerome Train is the commander now for that post as well. But if I have to orchestrate it from a state level, I'm willing to do that as well. Even if you can stop by today and say, hey, both of them are there, let's set up a meeting. But you all do 2 different things, because like Charles said, they will sit there and go through the whole process. But for those that they can't get to, or those that they say, hey, we have a list of veterans that just need A, B, and C, those are the ones you all can do a light lift, instead of taking the heavy load, say, hey, well, let me just run them through the system and see, blah, 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 because you're using VetPro. they're going still through the whole, let's do the whole thing. You know what I mean? So I don't even see while they're waiting, somebody could be doing that benefits part that they do so well while all those people are sitting there waiting. If we start setting it up that way to have a tag team, and like we tried to do at the school, and then call them in to sit with the VSO. Those are just some suggestions to ways that the organization can partner.
Okay. Jerome, what you think?
Thank you on that. Thank you on that, because that's what my point was, is that there's a possibility, there's opportunity to partner. And the thing is, and when you got somebody like Joe Thornton, who's a guy that did this for the state of Maryland for years, the thing is that, you know, not only will give you a lot of experience and whatnot, it'll, you know, he'll be able to pass on some of his wisdom to you guys and whatnot like that on, you know, what he's done over the years. So, and Mike, you remember the chapter, so it's not like you're an outsider, you know, so you could actually partner the you know 96 and the VFW 9619 chapters in a partnership. Charles already has been there. He's already been to a previous veterans clinic and whatnot, so he's familiar with the setup and know the people. So, you know, it's just a way of merging resources. That's the way I look at it. You know, because in the end, the ultimate goal is to take care of veterans. You know, so yeah. So and then the beauty about 9619 is we've got the facility, you know, for that Wednesday. You know? You know, so we got the facility. So the, you know, it's just something you guys, you know, need. I would, you know, think you guys might want to look into. You know, you don't lose anything by looking into it. You know, but you know, it'd be great because I know they're running a lot of people through there on Wednesday for veterans claims issues. All right.
Okay. I'll check it
Let
out.
alone the party part and the food part, but they are running a lot of folks through there for the veterans claim issue stuff. All right.
That's all I was saying was Wednesday wouldn't be the ideal day for an initial meeting, but
Right.
yeah.
Well, it might be, Tiff, if the folks can get some good food, drink, and also get loaded into the system.
Oh no, yeah, for them to come back once they set their ground rules, but to sit down and talk and establish the, you know, the rules of engagement between the two organizations, not during that time. But yeah, afterwards, sure, because it is packed. Yeah.
But you know, Tiff, what they're doing is, you know, they're over on the big side of the VFW, so it's not as loud over there as on the club side, because they don't go into the big side until like 3 o'clock or something like that. You know, 3, 4 o'clock or something like that. Mm-hmm. So,
which is what we're doing today. So they're on the big side today,
yeah,
and then
they're
I'll
on the
come
big
in
side
at
today.
3.
Yeah,
and I'll come in at 3 with the women on the other side.
Right.
So today would be a good time to go and stop by and talk to them.
Yeah, we're doing a clinic over there today, I believe. So, you know.
Yeah, they'll be there until about 6 or either 6 or 7 this evening, because yeah, my event ends at 5, and they'll still be going on that side.
And Mike, we got a meeting Tuesday night, so you could actually talk to Train on Tuesday night if you wanted to. All right. Okay. We got a meeting coming up this Tuesday night. It's our regular chapter meeting. All right.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Appreciate that. Will you finish, Jerome?
I hadn't done the Charles County stuff yet. All right.
Go ahead. All
right. Okay. I did want to mention that on 26 May, Omani Harrow, Marguerite Stubbs, and myself had a Teams meeting with Reuben Collins to get an update on where we stand on issues that we're concerned about for the county. And so a couple of things that we brought up was the status of the community outreach position. That's the position that's supposed to be to be working as the lead for Veterans Affairs issues in Charles County. Reuben had no status on the position as far as what grade, because the issue that we were concerned about is what grade is that position going to be. And he mentioned that HR is developing the grade, but they had not determined the grade of the position yet. So we're supposed to meet with him in 2 months, which is July. and he's going to try to have the upgraded status for us on where that PD stands with the Charles County HR folks. All right. We brought up the issue about status on funding for the Veteran Resource Center. He's still working that issue, and he's determined he wants to have the Veteran Resource Center in Waldorf. All right. And you know, Mike, you was supposed to have that, I think his name was Fields or something like that. He was supposed to join that meeting, but the guy didn't show up. But Ruben is insisting that he wants to have the Veteran Resource Center in Waldorf. All right. So that's what he's working on. I brought up the issue about the status of the HUD Veteran Administrative Supported choice vouchers, and Ruben was unaware of that. So what I did is I sent him the email that I had got from Roderick Lewis, the field representative for Senator Ben Cardin for Southern Maryland, and he's very much interested in running with that. He was totally unfamiliar with that voucher program. So when I sent it to him, he's definitely going to look into it, and he's supposed to give us his views on that when we meet with him in July. He noted that he had spoken with Governor Moore regarding funding support for a Charles County Veteran Resource Center. He had a meeting with Governor Moore, and so they're still working that issue politically. And then the last thing that I had mentioned to him was that Tony Woods, who's the new Secretary for Veterans Affairs for Maryland, has been going around the state holding basically veterans meetings or summits with veterans in different counties. And so I mentioned to Ruben that he needs to look into having Tony Woods come out and meet with the veterans in Charles County and talk about the veterans issues with the state of what's going on in the state of Maryland and whatnot. He was very much interested in that. So I forwarded him the contact information for the state of Maryland Veterans Affairs folks, i.e. Denise Newey. So he can kind of get going and maybe try to set something up. The issue that I raised with him was whether or not he was going to run it through the Charles County Veterans Commission out there. How did he want to do that? Because I told him, I said, hey man, I think you need to take advantage of Tony being able to come out and talk with folks. But the question is, how do you guys do it? So I and I can't speak to that because obviously I'm not a member of the commission out there. But the thing is, but he was very much interested in having Tony Woods come out. How you do it is the issue. So when I have an updated Teams meeting with him in July, August, we'll try to figure out what's going on with that. But the game plan is to try to get something like that for the veterans in Charles County. All right. And then of course the venue where you're going to do that is going to be the issue. But if Ruben's coordinating it, I'll leave that up to him. All right. Okay, then the last thing I had is I forwarded you guys a recent report on the top states for veterans in America. And I believe you guys may have seen that report. I pointed out the fact that Maryland was, I think 9 overall out of the 50 states. I believe it was 9. But when it came to quality of life for veterans, Maryland was voted as the #1 state for quality of life for veterans. So I think I'm fairly certain I sent that out to you guys. But it's just something that you need to monitor and whatnot like that. All right. And I did for folks that aren't familiar. You remember the Governor Moore wanted to try to have increase the tax exemption for veterans in Maryland from $15,000 to $25,000 in 2023 and $40,000 next year. Well, that did not pass, okay, with the state legislature. All right. One of the things they did do is that they lowered the age, if I recall, for veteran retirees to get the $15,000 exemption. And then I want to say they got the the 25,000 part. I got to go back and check that, but they weren't able to get up to the 40,000. All right. So the state legislature shut that down, but that doesn't mean that the governor is not trying. And then the other thing that they did get, if I recall, and Tiffany, you can validate this, they did get the state funding for burial of spouses with the veteran. They did get that approved.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
so
Everybody's so happy about that.
yeah. So now the spouses can be buried with the veteran at no expense. All right. I know as I tease guys at my VFW all the time, if you thought you was getting away, I'm sorry. We're gonna bury him right on top of you. That's all I have, Commander.
All right, thank you. To piggyback on what you just said with the burial thing, I'm taking that, and NABVETS will be the one to initiate that nationwide. Since I already had the fundamentals and the foundation, how it can be done, the budget, the monies, etc. I've got the permission from MMC, which is the military, Maryland Military Coalition, to go ahead and sponsor that and start entertaining the other states how to go about doing that. And I'm looking forward to that because they're going to let me put NABVETS name on top of that to be a crusader to the various other regions of NABVETS to have that initiated.
Hey,
Also,
Mike.
uh-huh.
Oh, Commander, I did want to mention before I forget that thanks to your effort and the other folks that were lobbying the state of Maryland, Maryland did officially do a recognition day for the African American female postal workers from World War II.
Yeah.
So that is now an official recognition date in the state of Maryland. And I
Yeah.
think the date is in March, I believe. I think
Yeah.
it's all right.
March 9th.
Yeah, but it is an official recognition date. It's not a state holiday with a day off, but it is a state recognition day. All right.
Right.
All right. So congratulations on that, Mike. You guys did good with that.
Appreciate that. And I've also been contacted already by several of the senators and congressmen statewide to entertain that car tags issue to have a reduction, in order to get free tags or whatever, you got to be 100%. Well, they're trying to reduce it now. So
Right.
they've asked me to come on board and start doing research, to put that back on the floor this year. So I'm looking forward to that and a couple of other things. But I'll keep you guys posted as far as MMC, the Maryland Military Coalition. I don't see Commander Watts.
Well, Gloria's on the line. Gloria's on the line.
All right, Commander Gardner.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yesterday was a long, long day for me. In fact, the whole week, I guess all of us are so very busy. I'm happy to report that Chapter 0099 is increasing its membership. We have three new members coming on. We have one from the Air Force, and we have 2 Army and 1 Navy. And even without attending a meeting, one of the new persons, she's a lieutenant from retired Air Force, and she's also one of the chaplains with the Pan-Hellenic group here in Maryland, gifted us with 100 pairs of Bamba socks, 150 pairs of men's underwear, and 250 different items to go, because they had heard that we put together comfort kits and have been passing them out all over the DMV, where there are homeless veterans and even not homeless, and homeless non-veterans are generally sheltered throughout, particularly down near the State Department, down near the Department of Interior, which is my last government agency, and at subway stops. And we're also looking at partnershiping with NIH as it relates to some of their programs over there. I'll give a written report little bit later on that. So, and I was able at the last minute to get someone to attend that meeting called Walk with the Doc that was sponsored by NIH. And so I'll have to put all of that in writing because I don't want to give you any wrong information. And I was also able to get the document, hold on, let me see here. Document that came out that talks about all of the monies that were awarded to Maryland. Wait a minute. And I'm going to put that in writing too, because I think all of the commanders need to be aware. This came out fiscal year 2022, the awards that were given from the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs, Maryland, $100,000, $100,000 went to all counties in Maryland for community building artworks. And that money was given to the healthcare network. And so I hadn't heard anything about it. Now, I don't know if any of you all saw an RFP come out for that. And then also Volunteers of America Chesapeake received $750,000 that went out to a lot of different counties, but the only one that was close to us was Frederick. And Commander Gregory McCullers had not heard about it either. There are a lot of monies coming out in RFPs, and I don't know why we don't know about it, but I'm going to put together a written report, and we talked about it yesterday at the working meeting for commanders. Stuff is slipping through the cracks, and there are groups that, hold on. Like I said, I'm going to have to write all of this out and send it to you and send you copies of the pages. And there was $750,000 that was given out to Black veterans for social justice. And none of us, Maryland, the state of Maryland wasn't listed at all. Most of that money went to the pump in New York, Queens, Richmond, Virginia, and Westchester counties in New York. So I just don't know where we're lacking in monitoring this. But
Commander Gardner,
yes,
I'm sorry.
go ahead, Tiffany.
Somebody else was about to speak also. I know we said we were going to talk because I was upset too. I was able to locate one of those groups, and it is, some of them are on grants.gov, but that's not the main place that they're focused or that they're listed. So I had traveled, I followed the Staff Sergeant Fox grant because I'm doing a mental health program, and that had a reopening. But when I saw it last year, I looked at the list, I looked through the list like you did to see who was awarded that grant in Maryland. And one of the organizations was Serving Together, which is which is also called Every Mind, which is also partnered in Prince George's County with the collaborative effort for Maryland under Dr. Dula. So I reached out to them. Reaching out to them, I said, well, you received all this money, but you didn't, reach back into the community to pick up partners because they are overwhelmed with the task that they took on for the grant. And I'm like, so why didn't you reach out? So when when it opened up again, I looked through it and I said, okay, this is an opportunity to get partners. So the next time it opens, prayerfully it will, because I missed the deadline. I found out about it late, but it's not like advertised so that it comes to you, you know what I mean? So yeah, we have to keep looking at that grants.gov website and just peruse through those, either for veterans or for me.
We lost her.
You went on mute, Tiffany. You went on mute. Tiffany, you're on mute. Maybe,
Well,
maybe I I think
Well-
I think the grant people cut her off. They didn't want her to get that information.
Well,
Yep.
while we're waiting for her to come back, Tiffany, you back on?
I'm sorry, I cut off. We got a partner because there's so many of them out there that we don't have to do alone. We can partner with these other organizations. And I don't know where I cut off because my phone has started ringing. I apologize. So I don't know where you lost me, but yeah, we don't have to do it alone. It's so many that we can partner with. So,
Right.
and I just,
Bless you and I promise to get together. You know, it's been hard because everybody, you know, we have different illnesses. I was in the hospital for a week around Mother's Day, and it's just difficult. And I do better meeting with people. I don't do well with all of these texts and emails going back and forth. You lose so much in the message. And, you know, I'm well vaccinated and I mask up. And you know, there are places in between that we can meet, whether it's at a restaurant or a park or whatever, and just bring stuff and sit and talk. And that's why it's important for us to have working meetings. And yesterday we awful lot accomplished. I'm just sorry everybody wasn't there, but you know, we can't be everywhere, but there's too much money. That's almost $1 billion for FY 2022 that we are not in the loop on.
yeah.
And many of these groups, you know, I don't like bringing up race, but many of these groups, they never, that's why in Montgomery County, I am not happy with the commission, Veterans Commission at all. I've got folks that look like me, 5 sit there silent, don't say anything at the meetings. You got 15 to 20 that don't look like me, that don't say anything because they got all the money. They're doing hookups and networks. So, you know, I just can't go to these meetings, but I did find somebody that said that they would go and sign on as not being, you know, a veteran and monitor it and bring me back information. And he's willing to do that. And he did the last one. And he said, you know, these folks are getting money. They never wanted us as members. One of my veterans on my committee, somebody knocked on his door one day that didn't look like him and said, oh, we found out that you're a veteran. We have a veterans program and we're supposed to go around and locate all of the veterans in Mount Airy and see if they need any resources like a flex card or the senior aging out card. And this was the Veterans of Foreign War. He said he's been in Mount Airy almost all of his life and he ain't never had nobody knock on his door to ask him what he needed or if he was a veteran, or we know you're a veteran, but he said he almost fainted. But 2, it was a younger guy. And younger whites treat these programs a little bit different than the older guys. The older guys don't want to share with us.
True. That's true.
Well, they're coming from a different military perspective. Remember, the racism was much more intense for older guys, you know, whatnot like that. And so, you know, the current American military is much more diverse and much more integrated, and particularly from a women's perspective, you know.
You're right, Jerome.
Yeah. So the older guys, as they fade out, you know, I guess I'm in that older crowd too.
I keep telling them they got to change their mindset. That's why I have not given up, because I keep telling them you got to change their mindset.
Right. We can't give up. We can't.
Right.
But anyway, I'm going to put these notes together in written form and send them to Mike so he can get them out to all of the commanders.
Okay.
All
I
right.
appreciate that. One more thing. Commander Gardner is being really modest about something. We were at her table. We were at her guest table, and she introduced NABVETS to 2 distinguished individuals, her homegirls. So I'll let her go here and tell you who they are.
Well, one is General Brickhead, Janine Brickhead, and the other one is the newly appointed by the president, Deputy Assistant Secretary for Veteran Affairs, and she is from my hometown. And both of them are very, very interested, want to know more about NABVETS, want to know more about what we need, what the issues and concerns are. And particularly the one over the VA is not happy with what she's seeing. She's only been there 2 weeks. And her, don't get fired before you get started now. Because she's kind of a rebel like I am. But I'm hoping to be able to host a meeting before, this month is gone. So perhaps in July, we can have a meeting with them and decide what we're going to talk about and put on the table for them. And I do know that the Deputy Assistant Secretary, I had to go through a lot of paperwork in order for her to come to the NAACP dinner. Who was going to be there? You know, will she be asked to speak? Just unbelievable. But she is a presidential appointee. So although she is a veteran, but they were not getting ready to give her full reign to be saying anything. But I went up to the speaker's table, didn't I, Mike, and got the general, because she said, where are the veterans? She's asking them at the table, where are the different veterans? And everybody's saying, well, we don't know. Well, she said, isn't there a chapter or something here? I heard. And about that time, I walked up to the table and introduced myself. She said, where are you all sitting? I said, come on. And she came down off that podium.
Sure did. Sure did.
And came back there with us and took pictures and stayed back there. And I tell you, it was wonderful. The Lord was blessing us that night.
Yeah.
Hey, Gloria.
And then found out that somebody had taken my table. They had us at table 30. I was supposed to be at table 6. I told Mike and Edwin him, I said, they better be glad this dinner is almost over. Because I would have gone up there and removed those folks from table 6.
Hey, Gloria, I had something for you before we cut out. The Maryland State Veterans Commission, our next meeting is going to be in Montgomery County. All right, it's going to be on July 18th. And it's going to be at the Cohen Clinic at Easter Seals.
What?
Yep, at 1420 Spring Street, Silver Spring, Maryland.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be on July 18th from 10:30 to 1. The next Maryland Veterans Commission meeting is going to be there. You might want to see if you could get, I know your NAACP group or the NABVET folks to talk about what you guys are doing, see if you can get on the agenda.
Oh, I will.
Yeah, the person you need to reach out to is Denise, D-I-N-E-S-E, Nui, N-N-O-E, and her number is 410-260-3840. All right, but we're going to be meeting at that Cohen Clinic on July 18th. Okay.
Okay, and that's Denise Noli at 410-260-3840.
Right.
Okay.
And TK is the chairman of the Veterans Commission. And I believe TK is a NABVET member, I believe. Right, Mike?
Life member.
Yeah. So you might want to see, since we're going to be in Montgomery County for that meeting, you might want to see if you know, you guys can at least make a presentation if you want to. All right.
Okay, I'll get in touch with KT.
All right.
Thank you so much, Jerome.
Okay, beautiful.
And Tiffany, you and I will have to set up a time that we can get together and have us a lunch or a late breakfast or an early dinner.
Yes, because before you came on, I shared that I've been given permission with the VFW to hold our Women Veterans Committee. So I'm trying to go through the counties to hold meet and greets to bring out our women veterans.
Okay.
All right, guys, I really appreciate your time. It's 10:08. I don't want to hold anybody up. I appreciate everything you all coming out and what you all are doing. I have my homework, I have my assignments, and each one of you have yours. So without any questions to do, anybody else have anything real quick? All right, I appreciate that. Tiffany, you want to give us a a closing prayer so I can go out and enjoy my birthday weekend?
Oh, seems like we just had a birthday. Woo, has it been a whole year already?
Yes,
Wow.
yeah.
Last time the family was in, but okay, all right. Most gracious and Heavenly Father, we thank you for the business at hand. Father, I ask that you bless each one of us as we go out to tend to our different endeavors, that we put you first in all that we do. So as we wake up, as we step out our doors, may we be blessed. May we be blessed to share the work that you have us doing with other people. And may they catch on, Father. Father, we need help, we need support, and we need other willing workers. As we are servants, but each servant needs those more willing workers. And I know you tell us that it's so much work to do and the labors are few. But Father, show us those that are willing to be laborers with us. So I ask that we go in peace, that we go in love, and that we go in joy. And may Commander Moses enjoy his birthday, and may he be blessed to see many more. In Jesus' name I pray and I thank you. Amen.
Amen.
Happy
Thank
birthday, Mike.
And
Happy birthday.
I'll be
Great.
free on
Yep.
the 13th.
Alright.
Another Gemini here.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
All right. Y'all have a blessed weekend.
All right, Charles, you have a good one, bro.
Birthday, Mike.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Talk to you
All right.
later, Charles and Tim.
All right.
I'll talk to you all offside.
Okay,
Okay.
beautiful.
Okay.
All right. God
All right.
bless. Have a great weekend.
All right.